From Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the headlines.
عالم كرة القدم مونديالية كرة عميقة.
Emmanuel presents final transition committee report of his administration to governor-elect of the state, Pastor Umo Eno. Plus in a moment. Good evening and thanks for joining us. First in the news tonight is Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, who has commissioned Ibeju Lekki area of Lagos. According to a statement by the group, the refinery will be churning out premium motor spirit (PMS), diesel (AGO), aviation jet fuel, and even have surplus for exports. Speaking at the occasion, attended by heads of state from Ghana, Togo, Niger, Senegal, and a representative of the President of Chad, the President described the feat as a significant milestone for Nigeria's economy and a game changer of the Dangote refinery. He added that his successor, Bola Tinubu, will sustain the improvement of the economy and business environment and stressed on the framework of government partnership to accelerate the growth of Nigeria's economic development. President Buhari also said he's happy to leave the economy in very second Niger bridge on Tuesday, May 23rd. According to reports, the 1.6 kilometers long bridge, which links Anambra and Delta State, will be commissioned alongside 6 other road projects by the president via an online platform, Zoom. Recall that the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, announced that says President Buhari is fulfilled leaving office as Nigeria's leader after serving for 8 years. This is according to presidential aide Garba Shehu in an interview. He noted that his principal has done his best for the country. While President Buhari recently apologized doing, he said he believes the Nigerian leader's move is about taking responsibility. On judicial matters now, where the chairman of the Presidential Election Petition Court, Justice Haruna Nsamani, has dismissed the application for live coverage of court proceedings. At the proceeding in Abuja today, Justice Nsamani's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, had filed an application on May 8 for an order to allow the live coverage of the daily court proceedings on the case they brought against the president-elect Bola Tinubu following the February 25 election. The Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, followed suit with a similar application, asking that proceedings of the tribunal be televised. However, a week later, Tinubu posted the application for a live broadcast of the proceedings of the election petition, describing it as an abuse of court process. And $60 million Chinese loan to fund the failed Abuja closed-circuit television CCTV project. The court also ordered the government to publish the total amount of money paid to big details of the names of the companies and status of the Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP). The suit followed the disclosure in 2019 by the Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed that Nigeria was servicing the loan, adding that she had no explanations on the status of the project. Still on judicial matters, the Supreme Court has adjourned until May 26. Shim Shettima, the Vice President-elect. It will be recalled that the PDP had urged the Apex Court to reverse the Court of Appeal judgment led by Justice James Abundaga, which held that the party failed to establish its locus standi. In the meantime, a federal high court in Abuja today fixed a suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, against the Department of State Services filed by parties following the absence of Justice Binta Nyako in court. Justice Nyako was said to have gone for an official assignment. Recall that the judge had on May 3rd warned lawyers to the DSS and Kanu against truncating proceedings in the next adjourned date. Elsewhere, a federal leader, Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa, as unconstitutional. The presiding judge of the court, Justice Mohammed Yunusa, today further declared jurisdiction to hear and grant the 500 million naira bail on ex parte application on their right and unlawful detention by the lower court. Justice Yunusa held that the Chief Magistrate Court lacked the jurisdiction to preside over any charge bordering on criminal conspiracy. Justice on firearms as contained in the charges filed against Doguwa, although the judge emphasized that granting Doguwa bail was not meant to prevent him from trial. Justice Yunusa insisted that working with the Nigeria Postal Service NIPOST to begin home delivery of passports, but noted that it is for those who opted in. Minister of Interior Raul Varebeshala made this known at the opening of the Nigeria Immigration Service Passport Front Desk office in Auchi, Edo State. He noted that the launch of the passport office is the 6th of its kind in 2023 and is part of efforts to bring passport application processing closer to the people. Domestic products, GDP, and revenue generation has revealed that oil and gas earnings surpassed revenues from solid minerals by over $392.6 billion. In its just released Strategic Plan 2022 to 2026, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NIETI, stated that it would now focus on the solid minerals sector, stressing that if the industry was thrown open to investment, it had. NIETI further stated that Nigeria garnered 52.8 billion naira, 69.5 billion naira, 80 billion naira and 128 billion naira from solid minerals in 2017-24, adding that findings by NIETI showed that the solid minerals industry had good revenue generating potential. Meanwhile, the federal government has approved the appointment of the current manager Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Kabir Mohammed, as Fan Rabiu Yadudu. Mohammed, before his appointment as the new fan boss, was also the regional general manager, North Central. He is expected to resume duty next week. From the Red Chambers, the Senate has ordered the Federal Ministry of Works in the 2018 report of the Auditor General of the Federation, AUGF. The upper chamber gave the order after an examination of the report by its Committee on Public Accounts, which discovered that a contract of 343 million naira was awarded for the purchase of project monitoring vehicles without recourse to due process, and worse still, the vehicles were not supplied. Photocopy machine parts and for designing of the country's roads and bridges at 139 million naira. The Senate panel, chaired by Senator Matthew Ugorinde, PDP Edo South, said it sent series of invitations to the Ministry of Works to defend the abstenance of the queries. Consequently, as recommended by its committee, the The Senate sustained the queries and ordered the ministry, through its permanent secretary, to the Academic Staff Union of Universities of Polytechnics, ASUP, has pleaded with President Buhari to sign into law the bill to abolish BSc HND dichotomy before the handing over of power on May 29, 2023. The national president of ASUP invested in polytechnic education in the country. According to him, the bill seeks to legislate the discrimination of polytechnic graduates from their university counterparts in employment and promotion in the workplace. In another developments, the European Union (EU) has reiteration of the European Union to Nigeria and ECOWAS in collaboration with EU member states in Nigeria and the Fashion Academy, Abuja, made this known in a statement today. The press officer EU delegation to Nigeria, Modestus Chukwu Laka, said young Nigerian designers were therefore invited to participate in the fashion competition tagged Afro-Euro Runway. He also said the competition feeds into the theme of this year. Today signed the state supplementary appropriation bill of 71 billion naira, which was passed by the State House of Assembly last week, Wednesday. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa had last week, Tuesday, forwarded a letter containing the sub as recurrent expenditure to the House for necessary legislative actions. The governor also assented to 8 other bills, which include Delta State Development and Property Authority Bill 2022, Delta State Good Governance and Accountability Bill 2022, and Delta State Sickle Cell Disorder Control Bill 20 administration. Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel today presented the final Transition Committee report of his administration to the governor-elect of the state, Pastor Umo Eno. The event was held at the State Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo. A correspondent has the details.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has presented the final Transition Committee report of his administration to the governor-elect of the state, Pastor Umo Eno. Governor Emmanuel made the presentation at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo, after receiving the final, adding that all activities of his administration since inception have been captured in the report.
We tried to go a little bit further by making sure the incoming government do not have to do a search on where ease of transitioning, for the ease of continuity, try to put everything together in black and white. And today we needed to hand that over to the governor-elect in commencement of the week of transitioning and handing over. I first of all needed to hand over that document to tell him, where are we? Because if you look at, that was the first question God asked man in life, and man failed. That was the first question. Adam, where art thou?
Earlier, the chairman to one local government areas in the state.
We have the executive summary / sectional, sectoral achievements of 84 MDS and local government councils. We also have completed projects in Appendix A that has 3 volumes. We have ongoing projects as Appendix B and returns on vehicles and heavy-duty.
From the traditional analog operations to a fully digitalized system, Governor Udom Emmanuel also performed the official activation of the Akwa Ibom State Government Human Resources and Asset Management System. The system, which provides for a comprehensive management solution designed to offer a more strategic approach to managing staff record, digitalization and Governor Emmanuel said the digitalization was aimed at upgrading the state public service to function seamlessly in line with what is obtainable in the 21st century and in fulfillment of his promise to hand over to his successor a fully digitalized civil service. He commended the head of civil service. The event also featured a public presentation of Akwa Ibom State Revised Edition Laws 2022. In Uyo, Jane Uwa, Spectrum Television News.
Meanwhile, still in Akwa Ibom, the State Ward Leaders Union yesterday held their 2023 general elections Thanksgiving service in honor of Governor Dom Emmanuel and Governor-elect Pastor Moino, where they appreciated the Democratic Party (PDP) candidates at diverse levels at the polls. In a separate remark, the President General of the Union, Michael Bush, Akwa Ibom State Governor Dom Emmanuel, represented by the Special Advisor, Political and Legislative Affairs, Elder Amana Mkanga, and the Governor-elect Pastor Moino, represented by Commissioner for Environment and Solid Minerals, sought for support for the incoming governor, adding that the campaign promises made by Moino to the people of the state will be fulfilled.
So we came here just to thank God, that is all. Because God has just been marvelous in our union. This union is just 6 months old. We've done things that are beyond and way older than 6 months. It can only. Mr. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, he asked me to plead with you that if it were to be possible, he should have been here in person. It's because of his tight schedule that he said I should stand in. And he gave me a word to this union. I came, and with your support, we took the state to better places that will be expanded and taken to greater heights by my worthy successor. I know you will give him your unalloyed support and pray for his success as you have started today. Our state is moving for a great time to be an Akwa Ibomite. Thank you for all your support and prayers. God bless you all.
Still to come in the news. China bans major chip maker Micron from key projects. Do stay with us for details after this time out. In Africa, Saudi Arabia and the United States have reportedly brokered a 7-day ceasefire between Sudan's warring factions. Reports say representatives of the army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and his former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo signed up to the ceasefire in Jeddah, where they also agreed not to seek any military advantage before it commences. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan, after the deal was reached, enjoined the warring parties on the importance, actually the people of Khartoum and the humanitarian workers who are in the country, to offer their services. In a related development, a special UN Security Council meeting is underway focusing on the war in Sudan that has seen more than 1 million people displaced over the army and the rival Rapid Support Forces RSF. He said it was at risk of expanding with serious implications for the region. Reports say a 7-day ceasefire mediated by Saudi Arabia and the United States is due to come into force of Darfur. Meanwhile, health officials in South Africa have confirmed that a cholera outbreak has killed at least 15 people. More than 100 others have shown symptoms including diarrhea and drinking tap water. According to reports, frustrated residents chased away the regional mayor when he attempted to visit a hospital treating victims. Recall that last month, the emergency services in Johannesburg urged people to avoid performing traditional and baptism rituals in rivers and streams following poor sanitation and seaway running through the streets. In the meantime, the Liberian Electoral Commission says it has begun investigating cases of underage voter registration and duplication of voter register which violates the country's electoral law. The National Elections Commission (NEC) said it uncovered the cases during an examination of the voter register following the completion of data synchronization from two eligible registrants will be removed from the poll register and prosecute any official found culpable of malpractices. Elsewhere, security forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo have arrested about 20 people following Saturday's opposition protest in the capital Kinshasa. In its assessment of the demonstration, the Congolese National Police (PNC) said the 20 injured, 3 of whom were in serious condition. It added that a journalist was also beaten up by a gang of overexcited protesters. Meanwhile, the demonstrations were organized by 4 opposition parties to protest against the high cost of living, widespread insecurity in the eastern part of the country, and the lack of transparency in the preparations for elections scheduled for December. Western states have reached an historic agreement to conserve water from the dwindling Colorado River, which is threatened by a quarter-century of drought and worsening climate conditions. According to reports under the proposal, the river basin states commit to save 3 million cubic acre-feet, about 3.7 billion cubic meters of water through the end of 2026, when new guidelines will be needed. Reduction Act. Meanwhile, the remaining 700,000 acre-feet would come through uncompensated reductions from Arizona, California, and Nevada, which get their share of the water directly from the lake today to accelerate cuts to its greenhouse gas emissions, targeting a reduction of 50% by 2030 compared with 1990 levels. Unveiled by Prime Minister Elizabeth Bourne, the roadmap includes detailed figures for reductions for individual sectors of the economy, ranging from the transport industry to households. Reports say the objectives, from speeding up the transition of electric cars or switching freight from road to rivers, are aimed at bringing from emission by 25% compared with the 1990 levels, requiring major fresh efforts if it is to hit the new 50% target. In a large slum in an operation against substandard housing and illegal migration. Meanwhile, France has deployed hundreds of police officers and gendarmes in Mayotte, the country's poorest department, since April to prepare a major security measure called Operation Wabushu around 7:30 a.m. today. Meanwhile, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has secured the endorsement of an ultra-nationalist whose third-place finish helped force Turkey's deprived Erdogan of an outright victory for the first time in his 20-year rule. Recall that he met the Turkish leader on Friday and held separate negotiations with allies of opposition leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. In the meantime, UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman has denied any impropriety over handling of a speeding ticket that has again put her at the center of controversy about alleged rule breaking. Rishi Sunak promised to restore integrity to the headliner, criticized for her outspoken rhetoric on immigration, is now facing calls for a potentially career-ending ethics inquiry. According to reports, the Interior Minister in charge of law enforcement asked her officials to set up a one-to-one driving awareness course instead of taking political civil servants to help deal with a private matter. Meanwhile, Braverman, who resigned under truth for using her personal email to send an official document to a colleague, downplayed the role in comments to media and to Parliament.
But we're focused now on delivering for the British people and working for them.
Did you ask civil servants to put you on a one-on-one
speeding fees?
In relation to the process, I'm focused on delivering for the British people, do my job as Home Secretary. What I will say is that, in my view, I'm confident that nothing untoward has happened. Today, I'm making a big announcement today. I'd appreciate the focus on an announcement which is standing up for victims and survivors in relation to...
Before, you had a resign for breaking the ministerial code. You've admitted now to breaking or having a speeding fine. You've accused of breaking the code for a second time. How good a look is it for a senior politician, one of the most senior...
has insisted that Bakhmut is not occupied by Russia after a Moscow-backed mercenary group had claimed control. Ukraine's president made the statement during a visit to Hiroshima, Japan, for the G7 summit. Zelensky's statements compared Bakhmut to Hiroshima, which was hit by an atomic bomb in World War II, promising a similar reconstruction of his country. Elsewhere, the United Nations has revealed that extreme weather conditions have caused the deaths of 2 million people. The World Meteorological Organization today, 11,778 weather-related disasters have occurred from 1970 to 2021, and that they have developed in countries. Talas said Cyclone Monsha, which wreaked havoc in Myanmar and Bangladesh last week, exemplified this reality. But the WMO mentioned that improved early warning systems and coordinated disaster management. For the latest business and stock market stories, here is Blyden Ukem.
This news, and my name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, China says products made by US memory chip giant Micron Technology are a national security risk. The country's cyberspace regulator announced on Sunday that America's biggest maker of memory chips poses serious network security risks. This implies that the firm's products will be banned from key infrastructure projects in the world's second largest economy. The Bank of Ghana held its benchmark monetary policy rate steady at a record level of 29.5% during its May 22, 2023 meeting, after raising it by 150 basis points over the harvest season. Additionally, the recent approval of the 3-year, $3 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund should support the city. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has signed a memorandum of understanding on zero financing to the budget to eliminate fiscal dominance and allow for a faster decline in inflation towards the target band. Ghana's annual inflation rate fell for the fourth month to 41 or 54.1% in December. Regarding growth, high-frequency indicators suggested domestic economic activity remained weak in the first quarter of 2023. In Nigeria, it will be in the third quarter of 2023. Dangote today, during the commissioning of the refinery, said production output will begin by the end of July or the beginning of August. According to the businessman, the Dangote refinery will bring an end to the importation of toxic and substandard petroleum products into the Nigerian market. 53 African countries out of 55 are dependent on imports. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. Today is the first trading day of the week, and a total of 3 billion naira were traded. The all-share index climbed 181.2 basis points to close at 52,369.13 points. The current market capitalization of with 31 gainers and 15 losers. Ikeja Hotel led the gainers with 9.85% share price appreciation, closing at 2 naira 23 kobo per share. Zenith Bank recorded the highest volume of 53.4 million traded shares. This is all on business news. Back to Yaya Nekan for the rest of the news.
Ubade gives reasons. Stay tuned for details after this time out. has suspended its 5 days warning strike, which it embarked upon on Wednesday, May 17. President of the association, Dr. Emeka Orji, disclosed this to newsmen via a telephone conversation that the association suspended the action for 2 weeks after reaching some agreement with the government. He, however, stated that the doctors will meet again on the 2nd day of June this year to review the progress made with the agreement to press home its demands after a 14-day ultimatum to the government lapsed, demanding, among other things, the payment of all salary arrears for their members, as well as the immediate health organization WHO and partners say it is set to launch a global network to help protect people from infectious diseases threats through the power of pathogen genomics. WHO in a statement for collecting and analyzing samples, noting that it would use the data to drive public health decision making and share information more broadly. According to WHO, giving every country access to pathogen genomic sequencing and analytics as part of its public health system. The WHO boss added that the genomics was also part of the ongoing surveillance of a vast range of diseases from foodborne diseases and influenza. F has sacked coach Salisu Yusuf and Nduka Ugbade. Yusuf and Ugbade were sacked due to their team's woeful performances. The sack was made public by NFF President Ibrahim Gusau in a chart with Olympic football event. Meanwhile, Ugbade's Golden Eaglets also crashed out of the Under-17 African Cup of Nations in the last 8. Bringing the curtain down on his 2-decade professional career. Anthony, 38, whose last game in the NBA was for the Los Angeles Lakers in April 2022, announced his decision in a video montage of his career posted to his Instagram account in basketball history. Meanwhile, World Football governing body FIFA has commended Dominican Republic midfielder Edison Azcona following his historic goal against the Flying Eagles of Nigeria at the 2023 Under-20 FIFA World Cup in Argentina. Recall that debuted his country's first ever goal at any FIFA World Cup competition. Reacting to the historic goal, FIFA praised Azcona for the feat, describing it as a huge moment for his country. Meanwhile, they will now take the wife of popular Nigerian singer Innocent Idibia, popularly known as Tubaba, has beseeched Nigerians to stop criticizing her marriage. Annie, in a viral video on social media, made the plea during her recent appearance on the Young, Famous and African reality show. The mother of two also noted that she no longer knows who her friends are anymore, as many people are praying and hoping. Street pop sensation Sheyi Vibes is set to return with a new exciting single titled Hat Trick. The singer took to his Instagram to share a snippet of the new song with a clip of the video. In the new song, Sheyi Vibe name drops Grammy-winning international Nigerian superstar Terms and sensational Afrobeat star Iris to the loss of his mother in March 2023. Lastly, in the news tonight, Nigerian Afrobeat singer Burna Boy has performed in sold-out concert in France, the 1,000-capacity arena. Reports say the singer performed songs off his 2022 sixth album, Love Damini, which delivered hit songs like Last Last, For Your Hand, and It's Plenty, and is set to make history as the first African to headline a show at the 60,000-capacity London Stadium on the 3rd of June. For watching, do well to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find at spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Uyai Aneka.